Welcome back, week 23. We're nearly at 6 months. Can you believe that? Week 23. Yes, I mean I've made at least 23 videos about Manjaro. I can't believe that. Hi everyone, just quickly before this video starts, I'm running Manchester Marathon later this month, and I'm going to attempt to run 75 miles in 24 hours at Endure 24 this year in June. All of this is to raise money for Tommy's, which is a charity that funds research into miscarriage, stillbirth and premature birth. If you'd like to support the cause, the donation link is in the description of this video. Every little bit helps, even a pound, even a penny. Thank you. So week 23, and actually there's something I want to talk about, which I think is really important that we do. But actually, first, a little apology from me. I know I said in my last video that I was going to try and get some footage together of some of the food that I eat and sort of show you what I eat on my average week. I got kind of 2 or 3 days after that and then thought, shoot, I literally haven't recorded a single thing. So I'm going to try my best to get around to doing something along those lines, but I've just not been very good at doing it this week. So there is no video of that this week. But one thing I really want to mention is the importance of looking back as you go forwards. Now I know a lot of people always say, oh, never look back, just keep looking forward and, you know, get to your destination. Well, I'm going to say no. I think I learned something in the last week or so that has actually made quite an impact on me. And that's, I received a message, and that message came from a lady called Jo. Jo is somebody that I've been talking to for a little while. She's also going on her weight loss journey, and she's smashing it. She's doing a great job. And Jo sent me a message recently saying, stick an Instagram post on, showing a side by side of where you were and where you are, just to see the difference. And I did. I put these two pictures on. So as you can see from there, they're just a headshot. And that's what I put on. And I looked at that myself and I was like, oh my God, there's quite a difference there, right? It's, yeah, you look like you've shed a good amount of weight. But more importantly, I looked healthier. I look happier. My skin looks better. It screams health far more on the new picture than it does the old picture. And I felt really good about that. And I felt really it just reaffirms that this journey is going in the right direction. And I am losing a nice amount of weight. And again, looking healthier, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we fast forward a little bit, because I think that was probably best part of a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, something like that. Fast forward a little bit. And as you might be aware, that I've been a little bit sick the last couple of weeks, just with a cough and a cold, and it's kind of put me off my training. I've not been well enough really to get the heavy training miles in that I wanted to be doing. And I have got the marathon in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks today. But unfortunately, I missed my final 2 runs, which I kind of feel like I've talked about so much across the 2 series of videos that I've got going on at the moment, both the Manjaro ones and the marathon ones. So I'm not going to dwell on that. But this weekend, yesterday, I managed to get back out on another long run, and I did a half marathon. So 21.1 Ks or 13.1 miles, depending on how you work. You're right, girl. And it went well. It was a good run. It was solid. I felt comfortable. I was more or less at the speed that I wanted it to be at. I actually ran over to Newbiggin, did a park run, and then ran home from there. So it was great. I took a photograph of myself, which you can see now. And I looked at that and I shared this in a WhatsApp group that I'm with the guys from RCC. And I can't remember who it was. It might have been Tom, I can't remember. Basically said they had to do a double take. And I kind of had to do the same thing. I saw myself and was like, whoa, wow, I look really different. So then I dug up an old photograph of me from my biggest time, really, when I was, 18.5 stone. And I put them two side by side. And again, I'll put them on the screen right now. Now, huge difference there, huge. And that really is when I looked back at this and was like, oh my God, what is going on? That is such a huge difference, a huge improvement. I just look so much better. But never mind that, I feel so much better. Now that picture on the left, yep, that one, that is me at Endure 24, the first time that I did it. So that would have been in 2023, June 2023. And that would have been, if you haven't seen that series, that would have been the following morning, on the Sunday morning, where I've been running through the night. You can see I've got my slides on because I actually got some blisters on that run and my feet swelled up. And when I took my shoes off, I couldn't get them back on again. So I ended up finishing the ultramarathon in a pair of slides. And mostly it was walking. And I could see, looking at that, how much pain I'm in, how tired I am. And I look back at that guy, and this was the thing. I looked at that picture with a huge sense of pride and a huge sense of gratefulness. And I don't know how mad that sounds, but I really look at that guy and I'm grateful for him. And it made me tear up a little bit when I looked at it, and when I put them together, and I was like, holy shit, what progress that is. It did make me tear up a little bit. But I'm really grateful for that guy, because that guy, although he wasn't losing weight, he didn't stop trying. He still worked hard. He got out, he did the runs. He was trying with the diet, but it weren't going well. But he kept trying, he didn't stop. I mean, that day there, I ran 50 miles. The following year, I managed to do, I mean, unofficially 57, officially 55. 55 miles. And I'm really proud of that guy, that's the thing. And I'm really happy. And I know I'm talking about him in the third person, but I kind of got to the point where he does feel like a different person ago. And I say a person ago as in a whole lifetime ago. It was a different person. I was a different person. But I'm really proud of him because he kept going. And I'm even more proud of him that he recognised that he got to a point where he couldn't help himself anymore. So he had to make a decision. And that decision was to try Manjaro. Because then that guy became this guy. And this guy's not the finished product, don't get me wrong. But this guy's a much happier guy. He's a much more content guy. And he's a more capable guy. So for me, the fact that Joe sent me that message, and I know comparison photographs are something that everyone always does, right? I know they always do it, but I don't really. Very rarely have I done it. I think maybe one other time I compared. Again, it was just face shots. And here's the thing. Here's the confidence thing as well. I would do face shots or head shots, whatever you want to call them, because then I didn't have to get my body on display. And I didn't have to get people, because when you do a comparison shot, it's different to when you just post a photograph. If I just post a photograph of myself when I'm overweight, it's just a photograph. If I post a side by side, well, now that photograph's being analysed, and I didn't have the confidence to really do that. And yeah, I guess now I have. Because when I look at that picture of the bigger guy, I could see why I might be, I don't want to say embarrassed or ashamed, because I was never embarrassed or ashamed of myself. But I guess there was a bit of me that didn't want to be judged for it. But the guy on the right, says, fuck that, let's get judged. Because look what we're doing, look what we're achieving. So it's really given me some confidence. So in June this year, I am actually going back to that event to beat what I've done before. So the first year, sorry, maybe I should, I don't know, people watching this, I don't know if people watching this video will know what that event was. So Endure 24 is what the event was. If you watch my running videos, you'll probably know all about this because I do bang on about it a lot, mostly because I love it. But Endure 24 is a running event. And the one I do is in Leeds at Bramham Park, where there's a 5 mile or an 8 kilometre loop that you run round, you walk round, you crawl round as many times as you like, or as many times as you can within a 24-hour period. You actually get 25 hours as long as you start your last lap within 24. So a 24-hour run to go as far as you can. And like I say, the first time I did it, it was 10 laps. The second time I did it, it was 11 laps. This year I'm going back to try and do 15 laps, 75 miles. So quite the jump up. But I'm going there as a new man, and I really mean that. I'm going there as this new guy that is much lighter, hopefully by then a bit fitter, which I think I already probably am, let's be honest. I'm certainly healthier. But yeah, anyway, I guess I'm blabbing on a little bit and I've lost my train of thought a little bit. But I just wanted to say that if you're having a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, and maybe you've had a week where you've not lost any weight, maybe you've had a week where you've gained a little bit of weight, maybe that's the time for you to have a look back and say to yourself, okay, where was I and where am I now? Because even if you've not had a great week or a great month, you might still be making progress. So don't let it drag you down. And I've not had a bad week. I'm not saying all of this to line you up to say that I've had a bad week. I haven't. I've actually had not a bad week at all. It's been an okay week. I really say this though because my mental state after seeing that image has really changed. I don't know if it's changed, but it's certainly, well, it's just made me happier. It's made me feel good about myself. It's made me, I don't know, it's allowed me to acknowledge that, yep, I made the right decision. Now, I've had a couple of negative comments recently in the comment section of my videos, and I know it's easy to say, don't read them or ignore them or just pay no attention to it. And I know it's very easy to say that. It's very difficult to not pay attention to them though, when you're at the receiving end. And I have had a couple lately. And I mean, these are grown adults telling me that what's the point? What's the point in using Manjaro? Because the minute you stop, you're only going to put the weight back on again, or the battle's going to be too hard for you once you stop using it, and whatever else. And I must admit that I've got to be honest, haven't I? I guess in this last week I did bite slightly with one of them. I just did. It pissed me off. Largely because I guess really it's not really about the content of what the message was. I just don't like people telling me about me and what I'm going to experience or what I'm going to go through or whatever else, because bugger me if I don't know, then how the hell did I know? You know? Again, I feel like I've lost my train of thought. But anyway, yeah. When you haven't had a great time, don't dwell on it. Maybe have a look back and see if you've made improvements. Right, so this takes me back to talking about week 23. Side effects? None. None. Zero side effects, none whatsoever. Pretty much like last week. I don't believe I had any last week. I don't have any this week. It's been, it's been pretty plain sailing, to be fair. So let's just jump straight into what weight loss we have or hadn't had this week. And it's an okay week. Not bad at all. We've had, now one thing I am going to say actually before I say that is, I think it's obvious, but as you start to lose the weight and you've lost a substantial amount, as I have, 44.5 pounds last week, things are going to start slowing down. And that's kind of what I'm waiting for, and what I wouldn't, well, am I happy to expect that? I don't guess I have real feelings about whether I'm happy or not for it. Come here, girl, you got something stuck to you. Come here, come here. Go on, there you go. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion whether I'm happy about this or not, but it will slow down on weeks. Lucky for me that hasn't been this week, but I am waiting for it to come where I'm going to struggle. But this week I've lost £1, so that takes me to 45.5 pounds lost, which is a good week. I wouldn't mind a few more weeks like that. And that puts me at 15 stone 3. Let me check. I forget. That actually puts me at 15 stone 2.8 pounds. So I'm hoping in the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks that we might see us down in the 14s. Now imagine that. That's going to be a bloody day to celebrate. So yeah, 15 stone 2.8 pounds is where we are today. So all is good. All is going in the right direction still, and we remain focused. And actually, I feel like I've had a bit of a reinvigoration after putting those 2 photographs together. Now, the next 2 weeks, though, I do predict might be a little bit different, because the next 2 weeks are where I'm starting to now get ready for the Manchester Marathon, which, like I say, is 2 weeks today. So certainly in a week's time, I'll be really considering what I'm eating, and I will be really start getting to that point where, okay, I'm going to have a good few days where I'm carb loading and really trying to get all of those carbs into my body, ready for marathon day. I've recently just purchased some Morton drinks, which will assist in my carb load, because I do find, especially now with the Manjaro stuff, where I'm probably going to get to the point, I'm going to turn around this way. Yeah, with the Manjaro, there will be days where I'm just not able to eat as much as I would like. So what I will do in that case is, I've got these Morton drinks, and I think each one of those, are you still with me? Yeah. I think each one of those is about 32 grams of carbs. So that's good. That means I can have a drink as well. They're not the most pleasant drink in the world. They don't really taste of anything, but they have a consistency that it's thicker than water, and it looks like the super glue, not super glue. It looks like the glue paste that you used to use at primary school. So yeah, we'll be going to there. So I am already mentally prepared to say to myself, look, it's okay over the next 2 weeks if you don't lose any weight, because we know why. But we'll see what happens over the coming days. Right, so there we go. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're having fun. Stick with it and keep it positive. I'll speak to you soon.